Imagine a nation that began with only 13 soldiers, standing at the edge of an uncertain future. A force so small that its very survival felt impossible. Yet from those fragile beginnings rose a military that would one day influence the course of global history. How did such a transformation happen? What extraordinary decisions, sacrifices, and acts of courage carried a struggling group of fighters toward the foundation of a superpower? And what unseen forces shaped this evolution across centuries? This is the story of how 13 soldiers became the protectors of a rising nation, and how that nation built the power that would define the modern world. To understand the rise of the United States military, we must step back into the early 18th century, an age when the American colonies were fragile, scattered, and dangerously exposed. There was no unified nation, no central command, and no structured army. Only isolated settlements surrounded by powerful European empires, native confederacies, and a harsh, unpredictable wilderness. The invitation to form a military did not come as a ceremony or decree. It came as a warning: the sudden attack on frontier settlements during King George's War and the French and Indian tensions that followed. Colonists realized that danger was no longer distant. It was knocking at their doors. This moment became the first silent call: defend yourselves or vanish. Out of this fear and necessity, small groups of colonial soldiers emerged. These early units were not built from ambition, they were built from urgency. There was no doctrine, no system, only a handful of determined men who understood that survival depended on discipline, coordination, and courage. Among these early defenders rose a young officer named George Washington, stepping into chaos long before he became a national figure. During the French and Indian War, he witnessed the brutal truth of conflict. He saw untrained troops break under fire, rigid European tactics fail in dense American forests, and moments where a single choice determined the course of entire campaigns. These experiences carved the instincts that would later guide a revolution and shape the future of American military leadership. The early identity of American arms, however, did not rest on one man alone. It was shaped by 13 extraordinary figures whose combined strength laid the foundation of a force that would one day influence the world. George Washington brought discipline, organization, and the idea of unified command. Through calm resolve and firm leadership, he transformed scattered volunteers into a cohesive fighting body capable of standing against the most powerful army of the age. Nathanael Greene emerged as a self-taught strategist whose brilliance revived broken supply lines and turned logistical chaos into operational strength. His leadership in the Southern Campaign reversed the momentum of war and restored hope when defeat seemed near. Henry Knox used determination as his greatest weapon. He guided massive cannons through frozen mountains from Ticonderoga to Boston, completing a journey many believed impossible. Those guns delivered the Revolution's first strategic victory and proved that courage could reshape history. Benedict Arnold, before the darkness of betrayal overtook his legacy, fought with unmatched boldness. At Saratoga, his command turned near collapse into decisive triumph, paving the way for French support at a critical moment. Marquis de Lafayette, the young French nobleman who chose America's cause as his own, connected two nations. He brought training, strategic insight, and invaluable international support that strengthened the revolution during its weakest hours. Baron von Steuben, a veteran Prussian officer, arrived at Valley Forge and remade the army through discipline, drill, and modern tactics. His training transformed exhausted volunteers into a disciplined force capable of meeting the British on equal ground. Daniel Morgan led the elite riflemen whose accuracy and unconventional tactics changed the face of battle. His victory at Cowpens remains one of the most brilliant maneuvers of the entire war. Israel Putnam became a symbol of determination at Bunker Hill, proving that disciplined British advances could be stopped by courage and resolve. His leadership inspired countless soldiers across the colonies. John Paul Jones carried the spirit of the Revolution to the seas. With daring victories and unwavering resolve, he laid the foundation of the American Navy and announced to the world that the new nation would fight on every front. Francis Marion, remembered as the Swamp Fox, fought with speed, surprise, and knowledge of the terrain. His hit-and-run tactics revived the Southern resistance when traditional warfare failed. Ethan Allen, leading the Green Mountain Boys, captured Fort Ticonderoga in a swift and unexpected assault. This early victory delivered vital artillery and energy to a cause still discovering its strength. Horatio Gates commanded the broader Saratoga campaign, overseeing the victory that shifted global politics and persuaded France to openly support the American struggle for independence. Anthony Wayne, known as Mad Anthony for his fearless spirit, led bold offensives and later strengthened the reforms that shaped the early standing army of the United States. These 13 figures did not command a powerful nation. They commanded hope, they commanded resolve, and through their decisions and sacrifices, they helped lay the foundation of a military force that would one day rise to global power. In those early years, the soldiers did not have advanced weaponry. Their primary arms were muskets that often misfired in damp weather. The most common was the Brown Bess musket, slow to reload and only moderately accurate. Bayonets were essential when close combat became unavoidable. Cannons and field artillery were valuable but extremely limited. Much of the early artillery had to be captured from enemy forces or borrowed from allies. Gunpowder was an ongoing challenge. Without sufficient stores, battles could not be fought and military operations could not continue. Saltpeter, a key ingredient in gunpowder, was so scarce that colonies organized gatherings to encourage citizens to produce it from natural deposits. Medical supplies were minimal and the understanding of battlefield medicine was limited. Every decision was made with the awareness that resources were fragile and often irreplaceable. As the struggle continued, alliances shaped the future of the early American military. French support, particularly after the victory at Saratoga, brought not only weapons but also professional training. Officers such as the Marquis de Lafayette and Baron von Steuben transformed the Continental Army into a more disciplined and effective force. Von Steuben's drilling methods at Valley Forge reshaped the Army's structure and fighting capability. Lafayette provided strategic insight and helped secure critical French assistance. These contributions marked a turning point that elevated the army from a desperate militia to an organized military force. As independence took root, the United States recognized the need for a permanent and professionally structured military. The lessons of the Revolutionary War shaped new doctrines and new institutions. The early government debated the size and purpose of its armed forces, often torn between fears of standing armies and the need for national defense. Yet through these debates, a clearer vision emerged, setting the stage for the military that would defend the nation during future conflicts. If this journey into the origins of American power captured your imagination, make sure you hit subscribe. Because in the next episode, we enter the 1980s, the decade that transformed the US military into something the world had never seen. Stealth fighters, next-generation tanks, and a Cold War racing toward its peak reshaped strategy, technology, and global influence. If you want to witness how America evolved into a modern superpower, you won't want to miss what's coming. Subscribe, turn on the bell, and get ready for the evolution of military power like never before.